Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, 5:48 a.m. Central Standard Time, December 13, 2018. I would have come on a little earlier, although it's still pretty dark. I see just a glimmer, and I mean, it's 98% dark still, a little glimmer of light. I was discussing with a friend. He used to teach high school with me, and we were talking about how some people, and I got, conversation kept going on, so I didn't want to just be rude. But we were talking about how some people are so full of racial hatred, and they can't hide it too well. And we were talking about that, how they might talk nice, but I've said it's always beneath the surface, and you can look in their eyes. You look in their eyes, you can tell. You can always not necessarily listen to what people say, but read their eyes and their body language and their tone, and you can pretty much get a good feeling about that. And then we were talking about how some people they seem to have an inability to engage in abstract thought. It's a serious problem. Or they can't look at things in context or scenarios or hypothetical situations. It's bizarre. Now they'll tell you I'm very intelligent, and you'll say, oh, okay. But then they'll say things that make you think that is not the case. Like I was telling him, I'll set up a hypothetical situation, and then they'll tell me, yeah, but I've never been to France. And I'm like, what? And then you just got to drop it then, because you can't get anywhere. When you're dealing with that, you can't get anywhere. You can't, if someone can't grasp it, then there's no longer any use to pursue it, because you can't discuss you can't use logic with people who are not logical. Okay, but that's enough of that. Okay, so but that's why I started a little late, because we were talking about that. It was very interesting, and I'll check back with him later. Been knowing him for 20 years. Really longer than that. I didn't really know him. I knew who he was for like about 26 years, but 20 years knowing him. Okay, anyway, so this morning we have the venerable Jack Daniels number 7. He said, hey, that's a green label with gold and white lettering. Yeah, this is that number 7, the green label. Same as the black in the sense that it's 80 proof. It's aged at least 4 years. It's sour mash, charcoal mellowed, and all of this business. But it's only sold in a few states. It has a different label. Old time sour mash, different. It's a different design. And showing all the labels on the side. This was purchased for me in Beaumont, Texas. Thank you, Sandra. And it's a liter. It was about $24 plus tax. So not sold in Louisiana. Apparently it used to be. My father said he bought a bottle, but we're talking about 1973. So something like that. So, and I wasn't at 5 years old doing surveys of what was available as far as liquor was concerned, beer or wine. I mean, I remembered things like Schlitz. You could see Schlitz everywhere, but you didn't think about it, because in 1973 or even 78, watching football, because I was always watching NFL games, you just, in your mind, Schlitz was just like, say, Jif peanut butter or Chevrolet car. It just was a common thing. The commercials were everywhere. It wasn't until later that you started to get the idea that something was awry, and you didn't see the Schlitz commercials anymore. And so I started to investigate that, like around 1982. No, 84, I believe. I asked my father, what happened to Schlitz? And then we had a conversation. So that was interesting. Now, so this is rare today. Used to be common then. That was then, this is now. We can make a movie about that called That Was Then, This Is Now. All right. This is not even on the website. Look go on Jack. I have the link down below. Go look on jackdaniels.com and you won't see this in their lineup. Nope. Now they will briefly discuss it in the frequently asked questions, FAQ. Look at that section and it'll say, what is Jack Daniels Green Label? And then they discuss it. But otherwise, it's just like with Pabst Brewing Company and others. It's one of those hidden brands. They're there, they're produced, but you can forget trying to find them on their website because it ain't going to happen. Like Beam's 8-Star, that's a good example, a great example. Say, yeah, I know Jim Beam, right? You know, look on their website, all their stuff. Not all their stuff, some of their stuff. Beam's 8-Star. I can go right there and buy it. In Metairie, I can request it at Matherns. They'll get me a bottle. But you could forget trying to find it on the website. All right, okay, all right. Now, Old Forester, been around since 1870, the first bottled bourbon. It used to be 100 proof only. And then from studying the advertisements, magazine ads, in 1960, this has to be the case, they went to the lower proof and the bottled and bond. So they said, now we have because you look at the ad, it says now available in two versions, the old bottled and bond 100 proof, and now at 86 proof for people that prefer a milder bourbon or what. So from what I could tell, this particular item has been on the market since 1960, 58 years. Okay, sometimes you can use circumstantial evidence to reach a conclusion, correct? That is pretty much indisputable, because why would they make an ad saying now available? It's like where I tried to show Sazerac that they were incorrect about when Ancient Age hit the market, because if you look at greatbourbons.com, the Buffalo Trace Distillery website, and the Ancient Age Facebook page, they say the same thing. Ancient Age has been on the market since 1946. And I told them, and they sent me an email, where do you come by this information? And I gave them the proof, but nothing changed. I told them, I said, Ancient Age has been on the market since at least 1936. You got the date wrong. It's 10 years earlier. Oh, no. I said, oh, yes. And then I showed them the trademark was acquired. And look, I had the date. Even the date was, I can't remember. It was something, 1936. And then I showed old advertisements from magazine. 1939. Now, somebody wrote it on there with an ink pen. February 1st, 1939. I said, but look at that. And then next to it was movie advertisements for the cinema. Look at the movies they're listing at all the theaters. 1939, 38, 39 movies. Then an advertisement, clear color ad from probably Life magazine. I think it was Life magazine. Ancient Age, preferred. All right, boom. 1941 says right there, copyright 1941, Shinley Distributing. Well, Shinley is Barton because they became Barton later. They changed their name. And then they were bought out by Sazerac in what, 1992, I think, and they changed the name to Buffalo Trace. Okay, so I can only provide the evidence, right? I cannot make the people change. When I contacted Anheuser-Busch about their mistake about Bud Ice, because they were saying on their website years ago, introduced in 1984. I said, 84? What are they talking about? So I said, hey, Anheuser-Busch, it was 94, not 84. And then they said, well, what do you mean? I gave them all the evidence. Oh, thanks. And then like in a day, like literally one day, all the documents changed on their website and was changed to 94, which was clearly the correct date. So will big companies change their information if you show them they're wrong? Yes, Anheuser-Busch did. Sazerac has not. That's just too bad. How many people on this planet are worried about the introductory date of Ancient Age bourbon and blended whiskey? Probably me only. Charlie Beats says, I'm sipping on my 42 ounce of Old English with you. I'm in Tempe, Arizona. High gravity. Oh, no, that's too strong for me. I'd rather this 5.9 we get here. Can't take that 8%. Blood Raven says hello. Hello and good morning to you. So here we go. Will I be able to tell these two apart? I assumed that I would when I did the Jack Daniel's Old Number 7 versus Old Crow, but it was a disastrous, catastrophic failure. I couldn't tell them apart. Could it be because I don't know bourbon? Yes. Could it be because I have a bad palate? Yes. Could it be because I don't know what I'm talking about? Yes. But I think the real reason is because they're so similar that in a blind taste test, you get quite confused. Now, if you're looking at the label, yeah, fine. But if you're mixing them up like I'm doing, it's not as easy as you may first believe. Now, people can check me on that by simply doing your own blind taste test. It's very simple to do. You don't need a partner, although that would help. But you can do your own double blind taste test. You take little tags, which is little strips of paper, write the initials JD and OF, tape them to the bottom of the glass like I've done. Make sure you don't look at the glass, the tag. Mix them up adequately where you can't possibly tell them apart, and then go into the taste test. And you can do your own videos and I'll watch them, you know what I mean? But I don't know how many people are going to do that. Now, if the liquor is two different shades of amber, or one's darker, one's lighter, then you got to watch it, because then that could throw you off your challenge. Certainly. I watch your videos all the time. You're awesome and your reviews are great, says Charlie Beats. Thank you, and I really do appreciate that. And I'm not joking. Iron Man Spartan 2. Hey, Ronald, I am drinking Tyskie beer. Oh, I like that stuff. Tyskie. Oh, yeah, from Poland. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. They said it was going to get up to 70 degrees today, but that's looking like that isn't going to happen. I think it's going to be like 67 and quite damp. And I don't know about where you live, Arizona, like somebody say Tempe, Arizona. But over here, it can be 67 and it feels like it's 47 because of the extreme humidity we have here. So it's cold here, even though it's not literally cold in a absolute temperature evaluation of it, but it feels much colder than it is here. And many people have remarked about that, Louisiana, how it's South Louisiana is just horrendously cold due to the humidity level. Guinness or Harp Irish Lager? I would take Guinness. Guinness Stout, but I like Harp. Okay. Oh, I didn't even bother looking at the. Yeah, they're the same shade, amber, lighter amber. The difference. They're owned by the same company, Brown-Forman, who created Old Forester in 1870, bought Jack Daniel's in 1956. 62 years ago. So they were 90 years independent. For 90 years, they were independent. And for the last 62 years, they've been owned by another company. Does that matter? I don't know. Does it? Maybe. I don't know. Somebody's going to probably ask me, don't you find it's different now that they got bought out? Well, I don't know. I wasn't alive in 1956. Okay, that smells like bourbon. And what does that mean? Well, some mild charred oak wood, or just wood. I mean, I'm not an oakologist. I'm not a woodologist. I can't smell. I mean, cherry wood, maybe. You think you can tell them? I don't know. I guess a pine tree burning, you could smell that turpentine smell. Some sweetness, sugar, corn syrup makes sense. Bourbon has to be at least 51% corn, pure corn. And it doesn't say what type of corn either. If you look at the United States government guidelines, it doesn't say that it has to be white or yellow corn. Doesn't say it has to be corn grits, which is granulated corn, dried. Doesn't say if it could be in a syrup form. You say, wait, whoa, back up. Doesn't say it can't be syrup. corn syrup. They say corn. No. And then the other 49% can be any type of grain, as long as it's grain. Can't have coloring or flavoring added. Now, that's a rule. So if you get Kentucky Gentleman, let's say Kentucky Gentleman from Sazerac, one of their low-grade bourbons, a blended bourbon, 51% straight bourbon, and 49% grain-neutral spirits. Now we're looking at something that's probably nearly 100% corn. Oh, it has a dash of rye. It has a dash of barley. But that's almost complete corn whiskey. But 51% of it is aged in new charred oak barrels. Okay, there's your difference. Well, let's not get too deep into that, but it is something to think about, because I talk to a lot of people about bourbon and they'll say things that are not correct. And they might come back and retort. They might come back to me and say, who made you a bourbon expert? And my answer is, whoever said I was an expert? I never made that claim. I've never made any such claim to that effect. But I can read guidelines. You can read guidelines too. Just get on the Tax and Trade Bureau website. Read the guidelines. They're very clearly written. People say, I can't read all that government stuff. It's too confusing. Not that website. It's very clearly written. You just have to take the time to study it. And that's something people won't do these days, take time to study. They're too busy rushing around. They got to look at all their stuff on Facebook all day long while they're driving their car. And occasionally glancing at the road. You know, they'll occasionally glance at the road. Ronald, can you do a beer wine review and cook a dish to suit the tipple? I don't know if I could do that. I could do it. I don't know if I will do it. I don't drink to get drunk. I sip very slow. Sometimes it takes me 5 hours to finish a 40-ounce. Yeah, that's the way I like to do it. Because people will ask me, remember back in high school and college when you did all that party drinking? Which beer did you have the worst hangover from? I'll be like, well, I never did that. I used to drink soft drinks. Like, that's what so I didn't have that experience. I didn't start drinking alcohol really until I was about 24 years old. No, I'm going to take that back. 26 years old. I was drinking dessert wines. So me and a woman too, by the way, we would drink that together. So, but there was no experience with the party heavy drinking. I'm sorry. I would like to talk about my adventurous days, but I can't because they don't exist. Now, I had a little adventure with David last year, and I told him I'm never going to go through that again. He said, oh, yeah, you will. I said, you just mark very carefully what I'm telling you, and you'll see if that happens. It hasn't happened. He doesn't know who he's dealing with. He's realizing who he's dealing with, but at first he didn't know. Okay. Wood, dried flowers, some dried, I've said this so many times, fruitcake fruit. You can buy them in the Mylar bags, and it's candied fruitcake fruit to make fruitcake. These bourbons will have that note. Why does it have that? I don't know. Some will have yellow tobacco, some will have other things, but I don't find it too much do. Okay, over here. Okay. This is what threw me off yesterday, 2 days ago. Got me really confused. See, this one seems to have all the characteristics I talked about in the first aroma, but it has this sourdough bagel. Is it a bagel or is it a sourdough biscuit? Like a breakfast biscuit you would maybe get from Popeyes. Chicken and biscuits. Could that be what it is? Is it a sourdough? Bagel or biscuit? There seems to be that. It's very interesting and complex and wonderful, really. And there's a depth to this aroma. It's almost like you're smelling in a tunnel, and the aroma goes all the way back to the back of the tunnel to where you can't even see the end of it anymore. I don't know. I think when people say Jack Daniels is garbage and Old Forester's common swill, I think they're wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. Well, to me, they don't know what they're talking about. And they'll say, I only drank this such and such 12-year age special reserve that I got from the distillery. And I was talking to the distillery master, and I paid $230 for it. And that's wonderful. And I think you should drink that. You should drink the $239 bottle of 12-year age bourbon that's hand wrapped and has a signature and a barrel number and all of that. You should do that. And I'm proud of you for doing that. But on the other hand, you shouldn't go after people that aren't doing it. It doesn't make you more credible. And when you approach it with that bad attitude, it makes you less credible. And people don't really like that boorish, haughty, let me show everybody up attitude. You know the type. They've got to show everybody up. And this is not favorable. Okay, I could just sit here and smell this. It smells so wonderful. Do you remember Bud Ice 5.5 back in the 90s? Of course, I remember it now. It's still on the market. Charlie Beats, same. Charlie Beats. Oh, the same. Ronald, are you pro-gun or liberal? Am I pro-gun or liberal? Charlie said, I've been drinking since I was 15 and now I'm 36. Got to watch the way you use the word liberal because it has different meanings. Remember, 200 years ago, liberal meant you were pro-gun. But in today's context, it means you're probably an international socialist and you want the common man to be disarmed because then they can't challenge your grand designs or schemes to establish this socialist new world. You see, so it depends how you're looking at it. I don't like guns. I don't like violence. And I don't like the use of weapons. On the other hand, one would rather be safe than sorry. So do I plan to add to the 4 that I own? Do I plan to add to the 4 guns I own? I don't know about that. Do I plan? I don't know if I will. Jesus told his disciples to go get swords, and they brought the swords to him, and he said, that's enough. So a lot of times our liberal friends will say, what would Jesus do? Jesus would blah, 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 blah. But he told his disciples to go get swords. What were they going to do? Have a sword show where they were setting up a convention? They would have a sword show and people are going to come look at them. They're going to buy and sell swords. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. They were about to be attacked by a mob. And Peter, St. Peter, the first pope, used the sword, cut the man's ear off. But remember, Jesus reprimanded him for that and put the ear back on. He put the man's ear back on. But there was a different reason. Remember, he came to seek and save those who were lost. He wasn't there to, well, let's get off of that. But he wasn't, his kingdom was not of this world. Okay, we don't want to get into metaphysical discussions. I am from the United Kingdom and think you guys should be armed is your right as Americans. And actually being armed is not, that's a misunderstanding of philosophy. We don't have a right to be armed as Americans. We have a right to be armed as human beings. You see what I'm saying? That's a natural right. You're born with that right. The government doesn't have to give you the right to be armed. You're born with that right. You have a right to protect yourself. See? So we have to understand that. So people will tell me, well, the police should be armed, but not the common people. Why? Why should a government official have a right that I don't have? Why should they have a right to protect themselves, but yet I have no right and I have to be vulnerable to attack from criminals? No, 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 we don't. Yeah, I know. I sound like Thomas Jefferson now, huh? All right. I remember that story. I love the Bible. I read the Bible every day. I read a chapter every day. I've done that every day since 1989. I read a chapter a day. Okay. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's what I do. Okay, this one smells more candy sweet. Candy sweetness, candy, get it, corn syrup. Over here, it's more musty and pungent and sourdough. I don't know how else to describe it. Do they smell the same? Well, they smell like whiskey, but do they smell the same? No, they do not. John and Neely says, good morning, Ron. Good morning to you, John and Neely. Top of the morning to you. Cheers. Where's the daylight? Where's the daylight? I'm getting thirsty. I have to drink something. I mean, drink something. I don't know why I say these ridiculous. I have to taste something. I'm not drinking liquor. I think I would drink whiskey this early in the morning. I'm not crazy. I'm tasting it. Hello, Ronald Terrio. Been a while, says Rainbow Sky. I love that you know your word. Even more respect, says Charlie Beats. Oh, thank you. I used to be Protestant. I converted to Catholic. I'm a Catholic convert. I didn't become Catholic until 2001. People say, what? You mean you were like a puppy? You were a puppy? And then people say, what happened? What happened? What happened to you in 2001? Oh, you know how a puppy, their eyes will open later on as they develop? My eyes open. You see, if you keep studying, then you'll learn if you have an open mind. I love that. All right. Got to have an open mind. Got to be open-minded. Can't be closed-minded. A lot of people accuse me of being closed-minded, but they're closed-minded. Oh, now that is some kind of drink. Such a deep charred oak. And the sip is right through the taste. Or I meant to say the taste is right through the sip. Sorry about that. Ooh, corn, sweetness, sugar. Mm-mm. Hey, that's candy. But with 80 proof. All right, over here. Mm. Oh, no. Whew. That is such a heavy dose of sourdough bread. I swear to you. Whew. Now I'm getting a little nervous. Iron Man Spartan says gund, G-U-N-D, gund. I don't know what gund means. Gund. Guns are our friends. They're a neutral object. It's a tool. You understand? It's like a skill saw. It's neither good nor bad. It's a neutral object. It's how you use the neutral object, right? It's like alcohol. An alcoholic beverage is neutral. It's not good. It's not bad. It's the use thereof which determines the goodness or badness, correct? I am Rainbow Sky said, I am morning time drinking Bifrost IPA. Never heard of it, but I'd try it, of course. Okay. Boy, you think this is easy? You are wrong. Which one would I rather have? I can't say that to you. I can't say which one is better because there's no winner. Well, maybe the Old Forester's a little bit cheaper. A little bit, not much. Now you might say, well, Jack Daniels is Tennessee whiskey. That's bourbon, so they're different. Actually, that isn't the case. Jack Daniels is bourbon, but it's marketed as Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey is a legal construct of the state of Tennessee. It's a legal construct of that particular state, which legally adopted that designation, around 2000 something. But in the eyes of the United States government and the rest of the world, there is no legal classification of whiskey called Tennessee whiskey, really. Just look at the Tax and Trade Bureau. You won't find Tennessee whiskey listed there. Because you want to know the truth, it only exists in the world of marketing. That's right. not in the legal world, in the marketing world. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Do I oppose marketing? No, I do not. I mean, it is a Tennessee whiskey because it comes from Tennessee, right? But it's a Tennessee bourbon whiskey, okay? And some people get very irate and hostile about that. Usually they are people who happen to live in Tennessee, by the way. Okay. Ooh. I even made a video about it. I should have kept it posted. Some guys joined in it. They were trying to tell me, you're wrong, you're wrong. I said, I'm not wrong. And do you know what the basis of their argument was? This was the guy's argument. I was a bartender for 6 years, and the customers did not tend to view Jack Daniels as a bourbon. I'm sorry, but that is not a legal definition. That certain people that came into a certain bar in some area that I'm not aware of where that was did not tend to view it as a bourbon. You can get no legal headway with an argument such as that. I noticed that. Do you like? Oh, they're talking to each other. I noticed that George Dickel also markets their product the same as JD, as Tennessee whiskey. Yes, wait. If it comes from Tennessee. I tried George Dickel white whiskey. Tasty stuff. Yeah, I never had their stuff, except for that Tabasco liqueur that John Danili let me try. But I'm sure I'd like it. I like most everything. Most everything. All right, so which is which? I got to be careful because I can look at that tag accidentally. Even though it's backwards, you might. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to cheat. Some people are crazy. You know, they'll cheat. Not me. I think that over there is Old Forester, and I think that over here is Jack Daniels because of the sourdough. But I am not confident. But really, Jack Daniels wins. It wins again. It won 2 days ago. I had them wrong, but it still won. Why did it win? Oh, I'm sorry. Old Forester won. The cheaper one wins. Excuse me. Old Forester won 2 days ago because it's cheaper. That's right. And it wins again because it's cheaper. We talking about a couple of dollars. What at the most? $4? Well, that's $4. You know, you can buy some things with $4. Our money hasn't totally disappeared. We're not Zimbabwe yet. Our money's value, I know it's based on credit. I know all that. But the credit is based on the aggregate wealth of the USA. So, but which one would I prefer? Well, I guess I'd prefer both. They're both very well made. They're both wonderful. What's wrong with them? Nothing. Now, the Whiskey Scout told me he thought Jack Daniel's Green Label was rough. Pretty rough stuff. And that's his opinion. And I don't go after people's opinions. I'm not going to sit there and attack somebody for their opinion. That's insanity. If he thinks it's rough and he grades it low, that's his purview. I might go after people on facts. If they say something that's wrong factually, I'll say, well, no, here's why you're wrong. And I do it respectfully. Here's why you're wrong. And I have the evidence to show you. Now, I've had some people on Facebook, you know, that's a very insidious platform because you get these friends who are really people you don't know. And a lot of these people are very treacherous because they only want to hear their own music. You understand? their own music. If you're not playing their tune, they're out of there. They take their ball and go home. They block and unfriend you. Very easy thing to do. Very childish thing to do. Immature. But they'll make contentions. You see, they'll be on there making contentions. And then if you say, well, wait a minute, and you show them factually that that cannot be the case, then they'll start making personal attacks, which means you've won already. You've won. Now you've won. Like William Kepley said, once you start making personal attacks, you've lost the battle. That's the only thing you can do because you have no basis in fact to back up your argument. I totally agree with that. But I've had repeated experiences with that. And but I'm not attacking the person, you understand? And I don't even, what they're saying, I'm not saying, oh, you're stupid. I'm just saying that's actually not correct. And they get furious. But I can't help. I cannot answer for other people's weakness. There's no way I can do that. I'm sorry, I cannot do that. Would I forgive the people and still do beer reviews and hangouts with them? Of course, I would do that. I don't hold grudges too much. But the way I feel about it is if you're out there and you're making your name known and you're a big, oh, I'm a beer reviewer. I'm a beer reviewer. Well, hell, at least you could be able to defend yourself or have a competent engagement in the discussion. Now you might say, no, they have to block people because some people will come on their channel and just say, you're an idiot, F you, MFer, and all that. I'm not talking about those attack posts. We're not talking about that. Of course, everybody would block that. We're not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about actual conversation that is engaging the person and not in a hostile way at all. Not a hostile way. I have a problem with hostility if you're going to be hostile, but you hide behind an alias and you have a fake account and you don't. We're not talking about that. We're talking about actual people that know each other, that have real names, and they cannot handle it. It's like, I want to be an NFL coach, but I can't handle NFL pressure. Well, why'd you want to be an NFL coach? We know the types. And then they get offended. Why are you asking me those questions? Wait a minute. They're asking you a question about your offensive scheme. It seemed to be very faulty, especially since you gained 12 yards rushing in the whole game, and your attack was totally unbalanced. Maybe that's why you had 5 interceptions. You had no running game. But then they'll be extremely hostile to the press asking a question like that. So that's what I'm ranting about. Okay. Old Forester to the left, Jack Daniels to the right. I got it right. But, big deal. That's a 50-50 shot, and I wasn't totally confident. The only thing that gave it away, I think, in this case was that the Jack Daniels green label is so profoundly sourdough. I know I've read the articles. They say sour mash doesn't affect the flavor or any of that. I don't know about you, but to me, it changes it. It tastes like sourdough bagel, and I don't know why I'm picking that up. Okay, let's see what the comments say. I cut back for a while because my tolerance got too high, but now I am floating. You have to really watch that. I know a lot of people that are heavy drinkers, prolific and all of this, and they will kind of get on my case a little bit like, you're weak, you don't drink enough, you don't let loose, you don't want to live a little, you need to live a little, let go. And I'm like, no, I'd rather be reserved and careful. But I just watch it develop, and I'll say, oh, okay. And then guess what? Later on, they'll come to me and say, hey, I went to the doctor, I'm sick, I got to stop drinking so much. And I'm like, oh, what did I say 2 years ago? But I'm the party pooper, you see. I'm the no fun league. But you have to be careful. This is not a joke. Alcohol is like fire. It's useful, but it's dangerous. And I don't know why people don't realize that. John Anilli says, I really do love Old Forester. I'm looking forward to trying some of the other expressions. Oh, me too. I tried the 1920. My friend David brought it over. That was fabulous. You know, it was fabulous. Great, great. Could I tell it apart from JD Green Label? I don't know. I'd have to do a blind tasting. Rainbow Sky said, just like women argue. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. There is a lot of convoluted argument coming from people. Is there a difference between the genders, the sexes? There could be. Because then you get extreme emotion involved. And, you know, as we know, women are very emotional. And if you tell them that, they'll fly off the handle and scream and cry and say, how dare you call me emotional? Okay. All right. But honestly, facts do matter. And screaming and hollering, you might be loud. Blocking somebody on Facebook might show them up, say, I showed you. But okay, but that doesn't back up your argument. And let it be known here and now. Let it be known. I have not done that. Blocked and unfriended and blocked people on any social media because of political, religious, and or alcoholic related arguments. Alcohol related. That's the one that cracks me up the most. Religion and politics, I can't really accept it, but it is something that's important to a large extent. But alcoholic beverages, imagine that. I'm not going to be your friend anymore because of this drink. Wow. Okay, you have a very extreme depth of character there. Your friendship list in your life, we're talking about your actual life, is based upon your agreement and or disagreement of the merits or demerits of particular alcoholic beverages. Yeah, that is not necessarily a good character trait. Okay, every time I open the fridge, that Krabari Marsala stares me right in the face. It wants me to drink it. I believe that. And it wants you to cook with it too. Rainbow Sky said, Mark Twain said, get your facts straight, then distort them at your leisure. That's right. If you're going to distort facts to back up your argument, at least have the facts straight. Michael Smith says, good morning, everyone. Hey, Ron. Hey, Michael. All right. Well, anyway, so I did get it correct today, and I'm not exactly proud because I still had a lot of trouble. It wasn't a clear-cut thing. Oh, well, with that brings us to a close. I was hearing the siren out there. That brings us to the close of the bourbon series for now, but it will return. It will return, God willing, because I was given, like free, given to me, no charge. What a gift. Woodford Reserve and Blanton's. And I was talking to a store manager yesterday, and he said Blanton sells out in 1 day. He looked at me shocked. At first, he said, what? Somebody gave you a bottle? I said, yeah. And he was saying, you could reshop it. You could reshop it. You could sell it. I said, well, I wouldn't do that. Plus, it's been open. Only about an ounce drunk. He said, do you realize I get that and it sells in 1 day? I got people asking me for that. I said, well, I believe it, but I got it, and it ain't going nowhere except in my belly. That's where it's going, in my stomach, over the next few years, naturally. All right. Well, I'm so geared up and excited right now. I did a rant and rave, but I think that's necessary sometimes and fun to do. You got to vent, right? Holding it all in, that's very, very bad. But hey, but that's the way the cut goes, ain't it? So ain't that the case? Now, so that puts the rest of the bourbon, and we have even more exciting things coming. And tomorrow, I keep saying tomorrow, I'm not doing a taste challenge while I'm at work. I mean, I would do it if they let me, but I'm pretty sure they would not. That would be interesting. 2 days from now. Well, actually, tomorrow night we got Krabari Marsala. Tomorrow night at 6:30 Central Time. Get ready, because that is going to be so exciting. I can't wait. I would do it right now, literally, if they would join me, but they can't. They have to work. And then Saturday morning, we're getting into Canadian whiskey again. Yeah, baby. Rich and Rare Reserve. Rich and Rare Reserve versus everybody else that I have already opened. And that's going to take forever and forever. Well, you know, I have to go up against Rich and Rare first. I have to do the daddy against the child. Rich and Rare, the original since 1962 versus Rich and Rare Reserve since about 2010. Oh, man, I can taste it already. And I really think Rich and Rare Reserve is going to shine. It's going to stand out. It's only $9.99 a bottle. Well, that's what I got it for, but you'll probably pay $10.99 or higher. Oh, man, that is going to be a champion. A champion. Now, some people, if you say the word Canadian whiskey, they want to come at you with a knife. Hey, well, guess what? You better join the, people tell me that. You better get on the train. Hazy IPAs is the wave of the future. And if you don't like them, you're stupid. Okay, well, you better get on the train. Because what I've been reading is that Canadian whiskey is becoming a thing again. Oh, man, but I was drinking it. You know what I mean? I was Canadian when Canadian wasn't cool. I was gone for a minute. You just reminded me to download my Bible app. Got a new phone. Have a good day, says Rainbow Sky. Y'all have a good day too. So I'm out of here, and I can't wait. I just can't wait. I swear I can't wait for the Canadian whiskey extravaganza. It's going to be an exciting 3 weeks. I mean, exciting to me. Would it make me an alcoholic? This is Michael Smith asked me this. Would it make me an alcoholic if I had some of my old number 7 in this live video, laugh out loud? I don't determine those things, and I don't even use the word alcoholic. I don't like to use that term. That's AA talk. I would rather use a more practical term like problem drinker. Problem drinker. That's a very good term to use. I did that challenge. It was tougher than it should have been. It made me conclude that the Rich and Rare Reserve is not worth the extra money. Now you got me really nervous. I'm so scared, but excited. Scared and excited. Oh man. Oh man, I was enthusiastic before this video started. I'm even more enthusiastic now. All right, thanks for watching this video production, and I'm going to end this review. It is for quitters, but quitters in a bad way, as I see it. That's my opinion, you understand? I did that challenge. Oh, he already said that. Okay, so that's it. Show is over. The show is over for now.